Are you a beginner pianist? Is this your first time learning the piano? Are you in need of just that basic knowledge or a solid foundation needed for a good start in your piano journey? If these are all your questions, then you are in the right place. In this video, I'm going to teach you the basic introductory, in other words, music theory you need for a good start in your piano journey. So before we begin, I'm going to give you a quick overview of how the video is structured. So by the end of this video, you understand what music theory is and why it's so important. You will understand the basics of some common musical terms, including notes and how they are related to each other, interval, modulation, beats, tempo, rhythm, melody, and harmony. So in the real sense, this video is divided into two parts, and this particular video is the part 1. And in this part, we'll be treating only the notes, interval, modulation, and the basic music theory. And we're going to leave the beats, tempo, rhythm, harmony, and melody for the part 2 of the video. So with all that said, let's begin. Now, what is music theory and why is it so important? Music theory is simply a device or tool that helps us understand the rules that govern music. So anything you want to learn in life has its own set of regulations or principles that govern how it's learned or used, and music theory is one of those. Now, why is music theory actually so important? Why is it so important? Why is it so much emphasized on? Now, a lot of pianists think music theory is irrelevant and a waste of time, as long as you can play the piano, right? But that's actually a fallacy, because I'll be listing some of the importance of music theory. Among them, number 1, it helps you understand what you are playing, e.g., what chord are you playing, what key are you playing on, and so on. It helps you answer all these questions with ease. Hence, you will be able to teach or transfer knowledge of what you play to someone else. And I want you to note something, that there's a big difference between playing the piano and actually understanding what you are playing. Number 2, it's much more harder learning the piano without a general understanding of what it's all about. In other words, music theory makes it very easier to play the piano. At least when you have the basic knowledge of music, you understand what you're playing, and when you understand what you're playing, it helps you to be more creative at it. In the sense that instead of you memorizing some patterns of play, you could come up with yours, right? You could be more creative. Now, for example, a beginner pianist might see a professional playing a chord like this. For instance, this chord. This is actually your A major chord. And how did I know? Because I have this basic music theory in my head, right? But a beginner pianist will just try to memorize this, in the sense that when it comes to the piano, he's going to just strike this chord that is playing the A, C sharp, and E. And how am I able to identify the key names? Because I also have this music theory. And someone without the basic music theory won't even know how to identify the keys. And someone without this basic music theory won't even understand that this chord is actually the same thing as this chord. And this chord is actually the same thing as this chord. This is just what we call inversions, because I have the basic music theory. So if you don't have the basic music theory, it's very, 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 very horrible. Okay. And another importance of music theory is that you'll be able to read and interpret music much quicker and faster. So I don't want to keep listing them. There are a lot. I can keep going on, but I just want to save time. Alright, just as I promised, let me quickly introduce you to some important terms you can hardly do without when learning the piano. So it's very, very important to know these terms, just as I promised. Number 1 of these is notes. The term note. This is simply the individual or basic pitches or sound that make up music. Notes, sometimes it could be referred to as pitch or key. So if you're looking at the piano, you can see this white and black stuff. These are actually called notes, okay? These are different notes. I'm striking different notes of different pitches, okay? So that just literally what note is. So another important term that you can hardly do without learning the piano is intervals, okay? So when you use the term interval, this is simply the distance or relationship between these notes, okay? All these notes, this is the distance or relationship between these notes on the piano. And this distance between notes have a specific name they are actually called. Among them we have the root, we have the minor second, which is sometimes called semitone. We have the major second, sometimes called tone. We have the minor third, major third, perfect fourths, and so on. However, we won't be diving deep into this for this video, though we'll be treating it full in my future videos. Okay, so if this is this note and this note, if I'm holding two notes, interval is actually the distance or gap between these notes. Okay, so the interval between these two notes is actually this. Okay, that's the distance I traveled before getting to this note. So the interval between these notes and this note is actually the space in between the two notes. Okay, and that reminds me, I'm Chris David. This is Piano Poly, where we help clear piano students' confusions ranging from beginners to advanced level pianists. So if you're new here and you're finding value in this video, do well to click the subscribe button below and turn on the notification bell just beside that subscribe button, so as not to miss out on the mission of this channel, that is to help beginners clear their confusions, and so you won't miss out on our upcoming videos in this series. Back to business. The last most important musical term you will most likely come across for this video is what we call modulation. Okay, so when you hear the term modulation, this is the name given to the process or art of shifting or moving from one key to another key. All right, so if I'm actually on C and I am playing on the scale of C, all right, don't bother about scale, yes, we'll treat it. So if I'm on C and I'm playing on the scale on C and I actually modulate or shift or move to F sharp, that's this key, and I started playing on the scale of this key called F sharp, I've actually modulated because I've shifted from C to F sharp. So that's basically all for the part 1 of this video. We'll be treating beats, tempo, melody, harmony in our next video, that is the part 2. All right, so before we close up for today, let's just do a quick summary or recap, so you're going to understand the context of this video in a short list. Okay, so quickly, the summary: we treated number 1, music theory. This is simply a tool that helps us understand the rule that govern music. Okay, number 2, music theory is important because it helps in understanding what you are playing. It helps you understand what you are playing. It's number 2, it helps to be creative at the piano. Number 3, easier and faster learning, and helps in reading and interpreting music. Okay, note is simply the individual pitches that make up music. Interval is the distance or relationship between these notes actually, and modulation is the art of shifting from one key to another. So that's all for this video. I'll see you in my next video.